Well, hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for being here tonight at our Connect group. I'm so grateful to have you here with us. In these groups, in these homes, you are literally living out the mission and the vision that we have here at the Heart, and that is to connect people to the heart of God. And we believe that that happens best in these groups. We're all on a journey of faith, a journey of forgiveness, a journey of trust. And what we have found, what we see is when we live through that together and get into each other's mess, we are able to grow in those journeys together. So thank you again so much for being here tonight. My name is Dominic. I'm the leader here at the Heart, and we have some questions today that are based around the message we had on Sunday morning. But if you weren't there or don't even go to church here, it's no problem. You can still be a part of the conversation. We're in a message series called Essence, and we talked a little bit about this Sunday, God's justice, and how God's justice, or what God sees as fair, sometimes doesn't match up with what we see as fair. And sometimes when we say we want things to be fair, we want things to be just, we're looking at our own perspective. We're looking at our own way of seeing things. So what we want to be able to do is dig through the scriptures, dig through the text, explore God, and find out, what does God see as just? What does God see as being fair? Now, one of the scriptures that we looked at was Matthew chapter 20, and I'll have it up on the screen here in a little bit. It's a parable that Jesus tells. So I want us to read this parable through together. It's chapter 20, verses 1 through 16. Maybe look at a couple different translations. So for our first question tonight, what I want you to do is look at maybe your past, dig into ways that you have grown up, and I want to know from you, how has your view changed from when you were a child to now? How has your view changed on what is fair and what is just? Has your definition of justice, has your view of justice changed over the last couple of years, over the last couple of decades, however old you are? And if it has changed, how has it changed? How has it affected the way you live, the way you talk to people, the way that you act? Because what I think is, like, our view of justice changes as we grow up, and maybe it hasn't for you, and if it hasn't, I'd love to be able to hear your perspective. But if it does change, then how are we able to rely on that definition? How are we able to rely on that? So let's take some time to go around the room, and I want to know, how has your view or perspective on what is just or what is fair changed over the span of your life from when you were a child up until now? So let's take some time to talk through that. All right, now for the second question tonight, it deals with that scripture that we looked at. So if you haven't taken the time to read that, make sure you read through it now. In this parable is about this estate owner, right, that goes and gets workers for the vineyard. And no matter when these people came to work, at the end of the day, he pays them all the same amount. And the kind of the peak of this story is the people that were working the whole time, that were there from the beginning, they feel that it is unfair that they're getting the same pay that these people who just worked one easy hour got paid. So what I want to know from you is, do you feel like, if you were in that same position, that you would feel it is unfair for you to get paid the same amount as people who had just gotten there an hour before? Do you feel like you would feel the exact same way as these people? And if you do, I want to know why you would feel that way. And if you don't, that's also valid. I want to know why you wouldn't feel that way, why you wouldn't feel it was unfair. So let's take some time to dig through that together and see what you guys think. All right, now for the third question tonight, there's a part there at the end, and in the Message Bible, it calls it the Great Reversal. There's a part here at the end of this particular group of scriptures, and it says that Jesus talks about the last being first and the first being last. And it's not the first or only time he's mentioned it as what's recorded in the New Testament, in the Gospels. So what I want to know from you is simply, what do you feel like that means? What do you think it means when Jesus says it? How have you seen it maybe in your life, if you have seen it? So what does it mean to you when Jesus says the last are going to be first and the first are going to be last? So let's take just a few moments to dig through that and see what you guys think. All right, now for the last question tonight, it all has to do with application. How are we going to take what we're learning, what we're doing, and put it into our life, put it into action? And now when it comes to this, what we're learning, what we're exploring, is that God's justice What God sees as fair doesn't always line up with what we see as fair. One of the things we said Sunday is that our justice looks like getting what's fair. Our justice looks like what is the right thing to happen? Who deserves what? That's what our justice looks like. But it looks like God's justice, heaven's justice, looks more like grace. It looks more like everybody gets everything. Everybody gets all love. Everybody gets all grace. Everybody gets all mercy. So I want to know this week, how does your life look? What changes about your life? What changes about the way that maybe you interact with some of the people that you work with or some of the people in your family? If you can see justice from God's point of view, if we can change our thinking to say, everyone gets all love, everyone gets all grace. So what changes about your life knowing that God's justice is about grace, not about what's fair? So this is the last question for tonight. So I want to say real quick before I let you guys go that I love being able to do all of this with you. If you are serving here at the Heart this week, this Friday is HC Momentum Live, and I want to invite you to come be a part of that. We're going to dig deep into the vision of the Heart, what is coming next for the Heart. We're kind of making some big steps in the next phase of where we're going as a church community and what we hope to do as an organization and how we hope to impact the city of San Marcos. And if that sounds exciting to you, you got to come out to HC Momentum Live to hear all about it. Also, if you're currently not serving at the Heart, but you're interested in digging more into that and maybe finding out more about the vision, you are still welcome to come to HC Momentum Live. We're going to have it at the Clayton's house on Friday. You can get all that information on the Church Center app. Make sure you register there so we know you're coming. We're going to have dinner, a bunch of fun, and vision. So we'll hope to see you guys there, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Love you too much, and we'll see you this Sunday.